Hello. Hello. This is the My Artifact episode number 3773 maybe. 72 was happened last night. This is the 73. 72, yeah, 73. I'm not really sure. Today's date is wait. No, December 22, 2025. It's been almost like morning at 9:52 a.m. All right. I'm kind of like look a little bit good. Okay, yeah. Okay, so let's just jump into the question. Okay, yeah. The question is, what if you could live? Sorry, what if teleportation mix up with your memories? Okay, teleportation mix up with your memories. All right. It's a very. I'm not really understanding the question, but okay, let's just understand the question a bit better. Okay. First of all, what exactly is this thing, and why am I asking this question to myself? This is what if question. Why am I asking this question to myself? What if question is always really interested way to do the answer. It kind of like a force you to think about that reality. When I try to think about that reality, or when I try to create that reality, I'm kind of like utilizing my knowledge and information and experience that I've been through. And somehow it kind of like a felt good. Disclaimer. The information that I'm trying to tell you is not exactly right or is not exactly wrong either. It's a raw, it's unfiltered, it's just my opinion. So do not believe in any kind of like information that I'm saying, or do not seek for any kind of like information that I'm saying. It's just my opinion, and opinion are subjective. Now regarding about the question says that what if the teleportation mix up with your memories? Now what exactly is this thing? What exactly is this thing? Mix up with your memories means what? Uh First of all, now this question is kind of like a bit really difficult to understand. I understand the concept of teleportation, but I didn't really understand how does it mix up with your memories, because I'm not really sure. Okay, I'm not really sure what exactly is this thing, because if I try to give the proper answer, okay, let me clarify what exactly is this thing, what is exactly teleportation. Then I might gonna kind of like simply tell you a couple of things. Okay, yeah. First of all, is that what is exactly teleportation? A teleportation means like that ki you can move from one place to another place without travel. How this actually happened? It's actually happened by kind of like a something your kind of like atomic signature, kind of like a teleport from one to another, like imagine as a kind of like a somebody you just disappear from one place and appear from another place. That is called kind of like a somebody teleportation. No, this technology is not exist. Okay, at the moment is 2025. Till the moment we just have kind of like a simply we just develop the atomic teleportation, means like that ki we could successfully teleport the atoms from one place to another place. But kind of like a somebody entire body or human mass or kind of like a things, we still not succeed in this thing. In the future we might will, but at the moment we can't teleport. Okay, we just can't disappear and appear in one place. Scientifically, is it possible? Well, yeah, somewhat something possible, but still there are so many things that scientists are kind of like a figure it out. Probably within a maybe century we might have this technology so that we should supposed to be teleport things. Okay, yeah. Now this is called kind of like a teleportation. Now mix up with your memories means what? Like basically, what if the teleportation is actually mixed up with your memories? I try to understand this possible scenario, but I'm not really getting it. Okay, yeah. Okay, what kind of like a some stuff that I'm imagining at the moment? Okay, yeah. So imagine that ki I wanted to teleport. Okay, so I wanted to teleport from, let's just say that ki one place to another place. So let's just say I am actually at London. I have to go to the New York. Okay, yeah. So basically, is this thing that ki the teleportation device at the London and also teleportation device at the New York. So basically, I entered in that machine. Okay, I teleport myself to London to New York. Okay, yeah. So I kind of like a travel through the places na, okay, a distance. Okay, yeah, I didn't really travel through time. Okay, yeah, the question represent that you travel through time. Okay, yeah, means like that कि you travel through kind of like a simply memories, and that's a kind of like a simply very weird thing. Okay, weird thing means what? um, okay, let me tell you my point of perspective. Okay, yeah, imagine that कि you are kind of like a something, like from my point of perspective, I'm gonna tell my example. Okay, yeah. So in 2016, I kind of like took a very kind of like a something very big decision in my life. Okay, yeah. In 2016, I had done my engineering diploma, and I decided to do a job. Okay, yeah. My relatives are kind of like offered me a job at power plant, and I went there. So my life shifted since 2016. Okay, yeah. And basically it's this thing that ki everything is actually happened like a something good, something bad, and things like that. Okay, yeah. Now imagine that कि I am, my age is 32 at the moment. In 2025 my age is 32. Okay, yeah. And I wanted to go to the kind of like a something New York. Okay, yeah. So I am at London, I wanted to go to the New York. So I kind of like went into the teleportation and things like that. But there is a kind of like a glitch happened, and suddenly I didn't really went to the New York, I went to 2016. Where? At my home, like this home. Okay, I went to home. Okay, yeah. And I'm kind of like replacing myself. Like basically in 2016 version of me, I'm kind of like replacing myself. Okay, yeah. So basically in 2016, the version of me is a version of me who has an experience of kind of like a till the age of 32, because my age is 32. Okay, yeah. I also experienced regarding about what will gonna happen after 2016. Things happen. I kind of like did a job, this and that doesn't really work and stuff. I realized what kind of like stuff I could supposed to be do and things like that. There are so much realization is actually happened after the 2016. Okay, yeah. uh, so I just replace all those things. I just replace and kind of like I just had entire information till the age of 32, and I kind of like went into the 2016. At that time my age was almost like a 20, 24, 24, yeah, 24 or 25. Okay, yeah. So when this thing actually happened, then probably there is a so many things actually question arise. Okay, now what actually question actually arise? Okay, there is a lot of glitch actually happened, but it's a kind of like a simply time paradox probably, if I'm kind of like trying to understand this thing. But let me understand as simple as possible as it can. Okay, yeah. So imagine this is a me. Okay, yeah. In 2016 my age was 24. Okay, 24. In 2016 my age was like how much my age, like basically 5 year, that means like 27. Okay, yeah. And 27, and then probably another 5 year, that means, yeah, probably almost like a 22 23-year old. Okay, so in 2016 my age was almost like a 23 20, let's just say 23. Okay, yeah, 23. And this is me in 2020 is a 32 at the age. Okay, yeah. So I went back in 2016. Okay, I went back in 2016 with entire information that I have throughout this time, like basically like whatever the information that I have till now, I kind of like took that information and kind of like went back in 2016. Okay, and replacing myself as a kind of like a somebody 24-year-old guy. I'm kind of like replacing myself as a 34 32-year-old guy. Okay, yeah. Now when this thing actually happened, okay, yeah, it kind of like creates alternate timeline. Okay, what's the alternate? Is it kind of like a simply scientifically proven? I'm not really sure, but let's just understand this thing. Okay, yeah. Let's just, okay, let me, okay, it's a kind of like a little bit sci-fi thing. Is it not? It's not sci. It's a kind of like a friction, but sci-fi. I'm not really sure about this thing. Okay, yeah. But I'm kind of like guessing that what will gonna happen if I kind of like went back in 2016 with the entire information of that I have right now. Okay, yeah. So basically in 2016, let me clarify what is actually my path is actually happening in 2016. So in 2016, okay, yeah, I kind of like try to do a job. okay, in Khaparkheda. I did a job for almost like a year. Okay, yeah. I realized that it's not really work out, so I switched the job. I didn't really switch. I kind of like a do a training, 3D modeling, 3D graphic designing, sorry, 3D modeling, AutoCAD, Creo, Katia. I learned all the software for almost like 8 months, and after this thing, I got another job in a kind of like a company, and as a CAD modeler, I kind of like a working there and things like that. While I was kind of like a doing it, that I wanted to be a filmmaker, but I could not able to become that particular person. Why is that? Because my entire time is actually consumed by this entire work and things and that and that. Okay, yeah. This realization is actually happened in 2019. Okay, that I realized myself that I shouldn't supposed to do a job, and I have to kind of like assembly do the things that I wanted to do as a filmmaking. Okay, as a filmmaking. Okay, yeah. So basically, is this thing in 2020? Is 2020 a kind of like a simply COVID happened. I didn't really decide, but COVID happened, and because of the COVID happened, entire thing is actually lost. The entire my job is lost. Everything is actually lost. Okay, yeah, and I kind of like a went back to the zero. Okay, like basically at home. Okay, yeah. So in this particular time, I kind of like a decided that I shouldn't supposed to do a job. I just have to focus on my content creation. I just have to focus on my kind of like a filmmaking career and things like that. For a year, I kind of like a making videos and kind of like a showcase that video to the kind of like a some ad agency to the Bombay, so that I should supposed to be showcase that I am a kind of like a valid person who are kind of like a working on kind of like a ad agency, because ad agency is a kind of like a some beginning point of as a filmmaker. Okay, yeah, ad agency. Okay, yeah. I kind of like a try this for a year, didn't really work out, nothing really happened. Okay, yeah. Then I kind of like realized that YouTube is the only one thing that kind of like a somebody I could showcase my talent and things like that. So for almost like a 6 months, I was kind of like a travel videos and things like that, but it didn't really work out. Because of that, I kind of like a fail very miserably, because I don't really have money and kind of like a resources and things and that and that. Also, my credibility is not really good enough to kind of like a create the travel filmmaking videos and things like that. So I kind of like skip that thing, and then I kind of like a suit the gaming content creation. Why? Because gaming content creation is kind of like a far more easier and things like that. For almost like a 2 year, I kind of like a do this gaming content creation. Okay, yeah, but didn't really work out. It's because of that I don't really have that much humor as a gaming content creation and things like that. I just fail and things like that. And in May 2024, I realized that I just have to do a kind of like a Photoshop and things like that. So in 2024, I kind of like a set as my content as a Photoshop graphic designing, and I kind of like a doing these things till now. Okay, yeah. So this is my path. So basically in 2024, I realized what is actually my content, what is actually I could able to do this thing, what is actually my purpose of my life and things and that. And also I realized my path that I could see very clearly. It actually happened since 2024, not 2024, May 2024, but not exactly May 2024. It's kind of like I've been through this process, and then I realized that yeah, this is the kind of like a somebody the step that it's kind of like a somebody matter to me. And yeah, okay, get it. Now this is a kind of like a path that I travel since 2016 to now. Okay, yeah. And there is a lot of realization actually happened throughout my life, that what can I able to be do and what can I able to be not. Okay, yeah. This kind of like the things are kind of like information that I have at the moment. Okay, yeah. Now if I went back in 2016, if I went back in 2016, then basically this entire timeline might be, I'm not really sure, might be destroyed. Because in 2016, I might have kind of like some entire information, because I already experienced. Okay, yeah. And right now I could change that entire thing is actually happened. Okay, yeah. So I could create another timeline with the information that I have till now. And and then in 2016, started doing a job. I kind of like didn't really start doing a job, and kind of like directly switch into the content creation as a YouTube in 2016, which I started in 2024. But it might gonna start in 2016, because I have entire information regarding about what I can do, what I can't do. So I might gonna start YouTube content creation in 2016 as a Photoshop content creation, and then it kind of like somebody creates another timeline. Because when I kind of like started this thing, I eliminate all the kind of like things, eliminate all the memories, eliminate all the kind of like something the things that not really work out and things and that all the realization I kind of like eliminate. I'm just kind of like skipping all this thing. In 2016, I try to create another kind of like a simply layer, another kind of like a timeline. And in this timeline, I am a content creator, I am a YouTuber with kind of like a simply with valid experience and information and kind of like a photoshops and things and that. And I'm kind of like a creating content in 2016. So imagine in this, if I kind of like started whatever the information that I have, I just kind of like started in 2016, it might gonna create another timeline which is very different, which is very different. So the question is actually arise. So in 2016, I went back. So this entire information is collapsed. This entire information is actually collapsed because I went back in time. I went back in time and I kind of like a simply changed the kind of like a simply the change the kind of like a timeline and kind of like a switch to another timeline. So the question is actually arise, when did I learn Photoshop? When did I learn this kind of like experience? When did I learn all those things? Because this timeline is actually gone. So when like how do I have this information regarding about Photoshop? How much I have information about Premiere Pro? How do I know about that gaming content is not really work? How does I know that possibly things are not really work out and things like that? Those realization happened to me when those realization happened. That answer doesn't really kind of like tell us the thing. And this is what kind of like a somebody that mix up things, that we just might have information, we just not have information, but kind of like somebody just messed up and things like that, and it kind of like create a paradox. Okay, it kind of like somebody create paradox. So probably in scientific point of perspective, in kind of like a movie Back to the Future, they kind of like represent that the both timeline can kind of like somebody run at the same time. Okay, it's not really that they don't really run, they are kind of like a run at the same time, but it's kind of like a bit more differently. But it's a kind of like a, I think somewhat something associated with the friction point of perspective, because scientifically there is like a no one kind of like a went back in time. It's not okay. Yeah, it doesn't really happen. Okay, yeah. But dude, the question is not actually kind of like a tell us about the time travel. Well, yeah, it is okay, because if I'm gonna say memories are actually kind of like happen in the past. So probably if I went back in time, then probably just yeah, it's a consider as a kind of like a somewhat something messed up with the timeline and things like that. Okay, yeah. I started imagine that what if I could kind of like went back in time, then what would I supposed to be doing? So basically, if I just imagine myself that yeah, I would kind of like back in time in 2016, then probably I didn't really went to a job. I kind of like somebody decided that I wanted to do a content creation as a Photoshop in 2016. Okay, yeah. So I might have at that time I have kind of like somebody computer. So I will gonna install the Photoshop and I will kind of like do the things that I'm doing right now. Okay, I'm actually uploading content since 2016, and if I'm kind of like a being continue and consistent, then probably is this thing that key I might gonna gain a lot of kind of like a subscriber and things and that. So basically is this thing that success that I'm kind of like somebody getting is kind of like a something I get very early. But there is also one catch. Okay, yeah, I might not gonna develop the artifact. Nobody exactly is this thing. Okay, so basically the things that you are actually hearing is called artifact episode. Okay, yeah. And what I'm trying to tell you is this thing that key in this timeline na, this in 2016 to 2009 to 2016 to 2025, this timeline, in this timeline I realization a lot regarding about my life. I am not really realizing regarding about myself, I realizing regarding about the artifact, how it kind of like a change our people and things and that. I decide that ki I wanted to make the application regarding about artifact and kind of like a somebody showcase that application to the people, because it gonna add so much value into people life and things and that. Now if I could imagine that if I come back in time in 2016, okay, yeah, then I might gonna kind of like a somebody bit really focus on kind of like a somebody content creation, because I need money. Okay, yeah, so I kind of like a develop this thing. Do I kind of like a develop the artifact? I will not. Okay, yeah. Why is that? Because of that ki there are a lot of things are actually kind of like somebody happened. Okay, yeah. uh, the importance of the artifact. Okay, yeah, like basically is this thing that I'm kind of like still recording artifact and things and that. It's not really that yeah, I will not gonna kind of like make the application, but the effort that I might not gonna put the effort in this new timeline, because of that ki everything is kind of like a bitly new. I knew that I have to make the app and things and that, and I already have resources and kind of like a things that that in this particular timeline I will not gonna put any effort to kind of like somebody making my application. Why? Because of that I already knew how much I should supposed to make application. Another thing, I do have a kind of like somebody resources and money and things because of the content creation. And then probably is this thing that I might gonna develop, but I might not have that conviction to kind of like create this application, because I am kind of like a somebody earning money from my content creation. So why would I supposed to do this thing? Okay, yeah. But in this timeline I'm kind of like a facing a lot of failures and things, and that and that and that and that. Because of this thing I realize what exactly artifact it means to me. And because of I realize this thing, I kind of like a somebody have a conviction to kind of like a make the application that kind of like a matter to the people. So I put the effort in every possible way to kind of like a make my application as good as possible as it can, so that it might gonna change lot of people in the future. Okay, yeah. Because it kind of like a changed my life too. It kind of like a changed a lot of people's life too, in the people who are kind of like recording artifact and things like that. And this is all this actually happened because of the conviction to that key. Conviction means what? The conviction means like that key, you understand the kind of like somebody the effort of lose. Okay, like basically what I'm trying to tell you is this thing now key, uh, like basically when you are kind of like losing a battle. Okay, yeah. You are kind of like somebody fight okay, you are kind of like somebody drowning. Okay, if you are kind of like drowning in water, you are kind of like somebody try too hard to survive and things like that. This is what exactly happened when you are kind of like facing through very difficult time. Because of the difficult time kind of like lets you to kind of like grow much bigger, better, and kind of like somebody better. It's kind of like a build confidence inside of you, build value inside of you. You need a kind of like a reason that why do you supposed to make the application, why do you supposed to do all those things and stuff like that. Because in this timeline I am kind of like facing a lot of failure and things, and that and that and that. And then after that I achieve somewhat success from my content creation. And then I will gonna achieve so many of so much amount of kind of like somebody the so much amount of kind of like a success after the artifact and things and that. And because of like it's all actually happened is because of the failure that I've been through and things like that since 2016 to 2020 to 2025. But if I kind of like started in 2016, I might not have that conviction, because I haven't really faced that thing. I faced that thing, I have information, but I might not gonna kind of like things that like I think that now why does, like if the people doesn't really memorize the things that I put the effort and things like that, why do I supposed to care this thing? I might gonna develop my content creation, but I might not gonna develop artifact, or I might gonna develop artifact but not with that conviction, not with that effort, not with that kind of like somebody that key it might gonna help with the people and things and that and that. So probably is this thing that artifact might gonna fail in this particular thing. Okay, yeah. But in this thing it kind of like somebody improve it, get bigger, it kind of like add value to the people and things like that. So yeah, this is what happened. Okay, yeah. So in this particular context it might gonna kind of like disturb multiple things. It might gonna disturb the emotions, people thought process, memories and things and that probably, yeah. And as also I cannot come back because of that in 2016 there is no teleportation. If I'm gonna say that if the teleportation actually exists in 2025 and I went back in time in 2016, then how do I supposed to teleport in this timeline? Because there is no teleportation device was invented at that time. So it's a kind of like a creates a paradox and things, and I don't know, it's a lot of fucked up thing. Okay, yeah. Like sometime it kind of like a went to friction content, but a scientific, like basically I don't know, it's just like that now, sci-fi doesn't really understand, like I don't know, it's a very crippled and things like that. The whatever the stuff that I'm trying to tell you is a kind of like a somewhat something little bit of friction point of perspective and things like that. But yeah, I think that now if the teleportation device is kind of like really messed up with your memories, then this might be a happen probably. Okay, yeah. This is just my kind of like some new opinion. I'm not really sure about this thing happen or not. Whatever, this is it. I should supposed to be end here, and thank you.